Good evening, ladies and gents, and welcome back to FanFest 2018. Welcome to the Eve keynote. As I've watched the first day of FanFest with you guys, I've seen so many familiar faces, and so many new ones too. It's been kind of seeing old friends and also at the same time meeting so many new people who are here for the first time. And it's good to see so many of our veterans coming back to Iceland too. It got a little bit broken there, but it's working. So I've also been watching Twitch chat a little as well. And it's great to see so many of the usual suspects tuning in too. Welcome also to you guys out there on stream. It's great to have you all with us. We've got some incredibly cool stuff to show you over the next 3 days. First though, I'd like to take a little journey into the past. As some of you might have noticed, today is April 12th. This day marks a turning point for humanity, a defining point in our journey as a species. This is the day that we first reached out to the stars. At 6:07 UTC, on this day in 1961, Vostok 1 blasted off for the first manned spaceflight in human history. It had a crew of 1. Roughly 57 years ago, and 11 hours, this brave pioneer, Yuri Gagarin, was the first human to leave Earth and cross into outer space. His flight only lasted 1 hour and 48 minutes, but he paved the way for a new era in science and exploration that has seen humanity explore and photograph the solar system in both manned and automated missions for the last 6 decades. Today marks the celebration of International Day of Human Spaceflight, or for our friends in Russia, Cosmonautics Day, the beginning of the space era for mankind. And what better day to kick off celebrations to mark the 15th anniversary of a community of pioneers who ventured out into a universe they can truly call their own. It's been 15 years, 180 months, 5,475 days, or 131,400 hours. In that time, you guys have built the impossible. You fueled conflicts that are biblical in scale. You've drawn lines in the sandbox and waged wars of epic proportion for territorial control. At every stage of this journey, you've pushed the boundaries of what's possible in online gaming. And truth be told, sometimes we've kind of struggled up to keep up with the pace of like your tenacity for just blowing shit up. It's been absolutely incredible. But it feels like you guys are just getting started. Let's take a look back at the early days of New Eden. This is one of the first ever sovereignty maps from EVE Online. Produced by Kalsharith from the Oracle tribe, it shows sovereignty on October the 10th, 2003, a time when the very first alliances in New Eden were vying for power and territorial control. When early powerhouses like Stain Alliance, Coalition of Free Stars, Curse Alliance, and New Venal Alliance were all duking it out to draw the first lines in the sandbox. And when legendary pirate corps like Mu, Space Invaders, Jokers, and Zombies prowled the space lanes, giving no quarter, taking no prisoners, and wiping out everything in their path. At that time, my avatar in-game looked like this. And you know what's coming? In keeping with God's tradition during the opening ceremony, I looked like this. As you can see, it was a long time ago. So cute. I wish I still was, but you know. These 15 years still resonate with me every time I think about the shenanigans we've all gotten up to. I remember every one of these experiences as vividly as the day it happened, and it continues to fuel my enthusiasm for what is undoubtedly the finest community in online gaming. You guys are absolutely incredible. Give yourselves a round of applause. I can remember back in 2002 when I looked like that. Back then, believe it or not, I was actually a quiet guy. It's really strange. The prospect of speaking to people on TeamSpeak terrified me. And I've got a little bit of a confession. My first 2 months in EVE, I actually spent as a mute. I didn't say a single thing. I was absolutely terrified. I'm sure there's a few of my wingmen over the course of the last 15 years who wish it had just stayed that way, probably. Wouldn't be surprised at all. And back then, doing something like standing up in front of all you guys probably would have killed me with fright. As much as we've shaped New Eden together, it's also shaped us over the years. Over the last decade and a half, Eve has had a profound impact on my life and on my personal and professional development. And it's all been because of the people I've met, people like you guys, the experiences I've had, and all the time that we've shared together. It also shapes us as we immerse ourselves in it. New Eden is it's an insane place. It's absolutely fantastic. And all of the characters and the people that we meet over the years, they really, really bring something to our lives. It's been a hell of a journey. And the people in this room right now and all those pilots who can hear my voice through the power of the internet are the reason that I'm standing on this stage right now. In Eve, the people, the community are absolutely everything. I can remember the earliest days of New Eden. These were times when there were 4 classes of ship in game: frigate, cruiser, destroyer, and battleship. Times when a viable fitting for an Armageddon looked like this. These were good times. And times when you would make safe spots in a Scorpion like this. Yeah. People who complain about being bumped in a freighter right now, they don't know the half of it. These things were nasty. I can remember also when my first battleship looked like this. And when the first thing that most people did with their first battleship was this. Mainly because it had 7 or 8 turrets, mining barges weren't a thing, and most of us were so broke after building it that the fastest way to make Iske again was to chew rocks for a few weeks. These were times when New Eden ran on a cluster of servers powered by Pentium 4 processors. And when a major fleet fight that everyone on the internet was talking about looked like this. Look how far you guys have come in 15 years. How incredible is that? And look how far Eve has come in the last 15 years too. I like to show these images to people who don't understand fully how long New Eden has been around. It gets more and more beautiful with every single iteration, and it's all down to the support and enthusiasm of the Eve community. Without you guys, Eve would just be an empty void. These 15 years have created stories that have inspired books, videos, graphic novels, and museum exhibits. To help me visualize it, I tend to look at a timeline like this. There are too many chapters to count. From the Siege of Mara to Zombie Spark Bomb in July, the First of Mar Championships, the Great Northern War, the Second Coming of Mu, the Rise and Fall of Bob, the Halloween War, the Easter War. There are so many. Hulkageddon, the Summer of Rage, the Fountain War, the Battle of Asakai, epic fights in 6VDT, Head GP, BTAC-R, F4R2, ROIR. The list just goes on. I mean, I could stand here all night. I really could. The stories you've all written through action and reaction will resonate with generations of gamers to come. They'll be telling these stories for years, and it continues to be a privilege for us to co-develop such an amazing universe with you all, and for us to all work together to strengthen the core sandbox that makes Eve so unique. That said, I don't think you guys are done yet. There are so many sagas still to write. In fact, I've got a feeling you guys are just getting started. And we want to work with you to put more tools in your hands so that you can continue to push the boundaries of what's possible in New Eden. A huge part of pushing those boundaries together is collaboration between the community and the dev team. And the Council of Stellar Management forms one of the cornerstones of how we engage with you guys and gather feedback. The candidacy period for CSM 13 has come to a close, and we're happy to announce that there are 49 candidates running for election this year. Some of you guys might have seen the list because it ended up on REVE somehow, but you know. These things happen. Here's a list of all your candidates. Voting will take place in the next few weeks, so be sure to keep your eye on the community newsfeed for more election information. More importantly, remember to get out there and vote. Change is coming to New Eden, and if you want to be part of delivering feedback that shapes that change, you should get out there and have your voice heard by electing the candidate that best represents you and your playstyle. The CSM has been an intrinsic part of feedback delivery from the community since its formation, and it's helped Eve grow and evolve over the course of the last decade in ways that neither the community and CCP couldn't predict. It's super important you get out the vote. For me, this has been a little bit of a trip down memory lane. It's got me feeling a little bit nostalgic and maybe a bit old as well. Thanks for laughing. It was really nice of you guys. We've got a lot to talk about, though, tonight, so let's press on. Before we do look at what's coming in the near future, though, let's take a look over more recent history and recap what's been going on in New Eden since FanFest 2017.
Secures it! He pulled range immaculately!
No, he died! He died!
He landed at 123 kilometers and his inertia took him outside of the arena.
It's been a pretty busy year, huh? We've seen a lot of change in the last 12 months, and New Eden can be a pretty unpredictable place. The balance of power is about to shift again, and we're going to dive straight into another video. Let's hear more from our friends over at the Scope Galactic News Network.
These recordings, released by Concord, show the capture of a heavily damaged ship found drifting a few days ago in the system of Rainilles. No information has been released on the whereabouts or the fate of its crew, but within hours of being boarded, the ship was towed to the Concord Directive Enforcement Department headquarters in Ulai. There it remained quarantined outside the station for 48 hours before it was deemed safe to dock. Little is known about the crew or the builders of the ship at this time except the name Triglavian, possibly connected to the frequent occurrence of the number 3 in their designs. For the past month, damaged drifter fleets have been mysteriously emerging around various jump gates in New Eden. Appearing in previously unseen numbers, these drifter fleets have been nicknamed Death Balls by Capsuleers. Passive unless provoked, the drifter ships are heavily damaged after some unknown engagements. This has been the cause of speculation about who or what damaged those ships. The Arataka Research Consortium has been the leading element in the drifter investigations, mercilessly attacking them at every opportunity. While these unprovoked attacks on the drifters have raised controversy, they have also been justified as they have provided clues to what has been happening to the drifter fleets. Trinary data vaults have been salvaged from the drifter wrecks. The data they hold is partly corrupted and believed to be Triglavian. The Arataka Research Consortium has been quite successful in extracting fragmented footage from this data and stitching it together. The footage shows drifters engaging Triglavian ships. It is due to these efforts and consequent questions raised by Capsuleers that Concord is finally coming forward, here with us today, to shed some light on these events.
I am Commander Vax Amita of Concord, and I'm here to give you a report on recent changes in drifter activities across New Eden. Last year, Professor Mayer of Concord Project Discovery reported a series of unusual energy spikes to Concord's inner circle. Follow-up work mapped these energy spikes to pockets of space-time similar to the spatial anomalies we call dead space, though these are more isolated and require special technology to access. These hidden pockets have been codenamed abyssal dead space. As you know, a vessel of unknown origin and design was recently recovered by Concord forces. After transfer of this asset to the DAD station in July, Concord discovered a novel technology that allows entry to abyssal dead space. Using this technology, we have successfully managed to send a solitary cruiser into the abyss to explore this new unknown. The early observations, combined with data recovered from heavily damaged drifters, has revealed an active civilization within abyssal dead space. The civilization has been identified as the Triglavian Collective. It must be considered a potential threat. The Triglavians appear to be human in origin, but due to their isolation, the development of their psychology, society, and technology is unpredictable and unknown. However, it's clear that Triglavians and drifters are in violent conflict. Judging by the state of the damaged drifters appearing in known space, they seem to be closely matched. What we've seen so far matches the observations of Professor Mayer. We only have direct knowledge of the initial layer of these space-time pockets. Once we stabilize the technology, you can acquire filaments to enter this new frontier. We need your help to help explore abyssal dead space. Concord's test expeditions into the abyss has revealed that there are areas of relative calm within the gravitational maelstrom. Apparently, natural nodes of calm are enhanced by unknown technologies that shelter ships and structures from the crushing depths of the abyss. However, these zones of calm contain other danger. Storms and other phenomena has been detected affecting ship systems. The pockets appear to be periodically unstable, and our own cruiser could only operate safely for a limited amount of time. The calm zones of abyssal dead space are linked together with what appears to be a Triglavian gate network. You will need to traverse this network before finding your way back to the trace of entry you left behind. But be careful. Opportunities for escape are limited, and the trace you leave behind can be scanned down in known space. In abyssal dead space, you will encounter new threats and discover new technology. This concludes my report.
Hello, FanFest. What's up? Bye, uptight Concord guy. All right, so I'm here to give you a little more detail about how these abyssal dead space pockets work and what you might find inside. Buckle up. First, abyssal dead space is reached through not a static location in any particular area, but instead it can be accessed using a new type of item called an abyssal filament. Filaments contain important information about the type of pocket they link to and the level of risk you can expect to find inside. Filaments which lead to deeper pockets can be a lucrative find, whether you use them yourself or trade them with other players. Filaments can also only be used by cruisers and when activated, you immediately dive into the pocket and leave behind a probable beacon at your original location in K-Space, which can be found by other players who will wait for you to emerge, knowing that your pocket will inevitably collapse, spitting you out right where you came from. Inside, you can expect to find encounters in extremely hostile and unpredictable environments amid colossal structures and violent storms. And your goal is to fight through Triglavians, drifters, and other threats and escape before the pocket collapses. And speaking of loot, let's talk a little about what you might find in this new exciting space. You've been uncovering clues about the Triglavian Collective for some time now, and I'm happy to confirm that in Abyssal Dead Space, you will find skills and blueprints that unlock Triglavian ships for you to build and fly. But to really understand what that actually means, first I need to tell you about the completely new base weapon system you will be wielding, the Entropic Disintegrator. This is a weapon that shares core DNA with existing turrets. It uses the same tracking mechanics, support skills, and basic attributes, but it also has some pretty important differences. Entropic disintegrators are defined by the fact that as they fire on the same target, they increase in power. Each cycle adds to their damage up until a cap of around 50% higher than the original base. This gives disintegrators extremely high damage potential in the right situation. Of course, this doesn't come without trade-offs. Disintegrators have no fall-off range, and they turn off if someone exits optimal. They also do a totally new damage combo of thermal and explosive, and they have the unique quality that there will only be one disintegrator module fit per ship rather than an entire rack. Now that you have some basics on the disintegrators, we can move on to talking about the ships that will actually be using them. Because the disintegrators only take one slot but do the same amount of damage as a normal rack would, Triglavian ships have a very unique character. They have huge utility high slot allocation, allowing for custom mixes of energy warfare, remote repair, smart palms, or whatever else you can fit in a high slot. Not guns, though. The ships get roll bonuses to range and cap use for some of those utility modules, alongside disintegrator-oriented weapon bonuses, of course. They tank with armor using generous low slot allocation. They have really high base armor HP values. And that's a lot of words. Let me just put the ships up here for you. This is the Demovic, the frigate. This is the Vedmak, the Triglavian cruiser. And this is the Leshak, the battleship, which has a bonus to both disintegrator damage and rate of fire, meaning it charges quickly to some of the highest subcapital DPS numbers in New Eden. And we hope that Triglavian ships and weapons introduce new tactics for many of you, and we're excited for you to get your hands on them. But that's not the only thing waiting to be found in Abyssal Dead Space. You see, Triglavians have also developed biotechnology specifically for altering resources and modules in the Abyss. This biotech takes the form of artificial mycoplasmid colonies, which can be claimed and unleashed on your own modules, altering them in unpredictable ways. And I'll just take you through an example of how this works. This is a Gravid 50MN microwarp drive mutaplasmid. It can be found in Abyssal Dead Space and brought back to K-Space to be used or sold. Mutaplasmids will come in a variety of qualities and types which determine what modules they can be used on and what range of effects are possible. This one works on 50MN microwarp drives particularly, which means it can affect activation cost, mass addition, fitting, speed bonus by a variable amount. So now we just need a micro warp drive to use it on. Any 50 MN micro warp drive will work. We could play it safe and put it on a Tech 1 or Tech 2 variation, or take a big risk and use a faction or dead space variation. Our choice is really important because the base values of the module influence the outcome. Let's just go with Tech 2 because it's familiar. When we use the mutaplasmid on the micro warp drive, both are immediately consumed, and we receive a 50 MN abyssal micro warp drive in return with new attribute values. In this example, we were pretty lucky. Our power cost went down, the CPU went up a little, but our speed bonus jumped from 510% to 561%. And then our mass addition and our cap need both went down. So we just made a micro warp drive stronger than any that exist on TQ today. But remember, this is a risky process, and it doesn't always work out. In our second attempt, using the same inputs, we got very different values. We bricked every single stat and turned our Tech 2 micro warp drive along with the mutaplasmid into garbage. So it's good I didn't use dead space in that example. It would have been expensive. Now, I know this is a lot to take in, and we're going to start unpacking it with you guys over the rest of the weekend. But for now, I'm going to hand you off to CCP Siegel.
Hi, everyone, and thank you to Concord Guy and to CCP Rise for all of that. Now, Abyssal Dead Space is an entirely new type of encounter in EVE Online. And the things that you can find there will bring new dynamics to combat across all of New Eden. It's gameplay and visuals like you've never seen in EVE before, and new ships and skills and mutaplasmids and weapons to play with. Does it look exciting? And all of this forms the heart of our next EVE Online expansion, Into the Abyss. Now, you'll discover more about Abyssal Dead Space and Triglavians over the weekend here at FanFest. And some of it you will have to discover by just playing when this comes to New Eden. But there are a few more things in the expansion alongside all of that stuff, and I'll take you through that now. First, a quality of life pass on planetary interaction. There are many, many Capsuleers who set up and work with planetary colonies each day, and some love was well overdue. So we'll have over 20 UX tweaks and quality of life fixes, and there is a devlog coming with all the details, but I will show you 3 of the changes now to just give you an idea what kind of stuff this is about. So first, pin placement is made way easier because you'll no longer have to reselect what pin to place each time. And if you have an incomplete setup, this will be indicated really clearly so that you don't accidentally leave behind stuff that actually needs stuff done to it. And we're adding tooltips all over the place to make it way easier to discover what's needed and how to use all the various items that are involved in Pi. And there are many other changes, like most of them are focused on reducing unnecessary clicks, sorry, and generally just make things way easier to work with. So we really hope you colonists will enjoy these changes. Now, we have also created a new tool that helps people get an overview of the myriad of activities that are available in EVE Online. Now, EVE is a sandbox game where you set your own path, but how do you even know what's out there? And you players have actually made some really great overviews, and the activity tracker that you see up here is our approach to bringing something like that into the game itself. And the tracker will do two things for you. It will show you what your character has achieved in New Eden, and it will also show you what else there is out there to do. And here you see an example in the industry branch of the tracker, showing how much research, copying, and manufacturing that this particular character has done. And to do all of this, we have created all new data pipelines that can handle both capturing your activity in New Eden and then showing it back to you in the tracker. And because some of these activities have never actually been captured like this before, we can't magically know what you did in the past and make it all retroactive, but as soon as we release this, your activity will start filling in. And you'll be able to see your career in EVE unfold and also see how you could go deeper into what you're currently doing or find whole new areas of the game to try. All right. We are also confirming for the expansion a change to faction warfare with a new restriction that stops ships fitted with warp core stabilizers from entering capture complexes. And we are very, very excited to bring all these new things to EVE Online on May 29th. Some good stuff. That's just a month and a half from now. But now, let's hear some more from CCP Falcon on how we're going to celebrate EVE's 15th birthday.
Well, I don't know about you guys, but I'm going to buy me a new mouse and do some PI. So 15 years. It's a hell of a milestone. And to celebrate it, this year there'll once again be a 15th anniversary event for capsuleers across the cluster to sink their teeth into. We'll get that shortly, but first, let's take a look at what else will be happening over the course of the 15th birthday. The first thing coming your way as part of the anniversary celebrations is, of course, a new shirt. We like the new shirt. And of course, at CCP, we're more than aware of the capsuleers' love for hats. So we'll throw one of those in too as a little extra thank you for an incredible 15 years. I'm sorry guys, there's no kitty ears yet. I'm trying, believe me, it's a daily battle with the art team. I'm wearing them down slowly. We'll get there eventually, hopefully before Jintan murders me. I'm assuming you guys have all got one of these too, or at least you should have, or you're really doing it wrong. So every pilot who logs in during the 30 days prior to May the 6th, the 15th anniversary, will receive a limited edition pod skin to commemorate the 15th anniversary, along with an Apotheosis class shuttle. And of course, you're going to get a limited edition skin for that too. It's got a match, I mean, you know, serious business. These gifts are going to be issued regardless of clone state. So as long as you've logged in during the 30 days prior to May the 6th, you'll receive them. How many of you guys are Omega? Yeah? That's a good ratio. I like it. The rest of you be Omega soon, because you're going to get more stuff. So for those of you who are Omega, when you log in during this time, there's a little extra. The Society of Conscious Thought will also be rewarding you with a Synesis, a Gnosis, and an all-new Praxis-class battleship hull. And of course, you're going to get 15th anniversary skins for all these hulls too. Be sure that you're active in the 30 days prior to May the 6th, and all these rewards will be in your redeeming system the day after the 15th anniversary on May the 7th. Alongside apparel and skins, there's also going to be an event over the course of the 15th anniversary, offering all manner of rewards and loot for capsuleers who have the backbone and the balls to go up against the Drifter threat. As the Society of Conscious Thought prepares to celebrate the 15th anniversary of the dawn of the Empyrean Age, with the release of the Praxis-class battleship, the Drifters are going to be looking to disrupt the celebrations and will be staging raids against Society distribution facilities in order to halt the release of the Praxis, which they see as a threat. The goal of pilots across the cluster will be to defend Society facilities against the Drifter attacks and strike back against Drifter staging points to halt their advance and recover vital Society technology. The roads will be plentiful, but the threat is also going to be very real. You guys are going to be facing drifters. And there's going to be a multitude of different sites tailored towards group play, solo play, PvP, and even some more difficult encounters that might attract some of our most hardened veterans. There'll be something for everyone in this event. And of course, there's going to be the opportunity to pick up some sweet skins from these loot sites too. For more than 20 different hull types, in fact. So keep an eye on EVE updates and the community newsfeed in the coming week or two for more information. Before I head off, there's one final thing I want to give you a quick update on. The Alliance Tournament. How many of you guys watch the AT? Yeah. So, the 16th Alliance Tournament will take place over the course of the last weekend of July and the first 3 weekends in August. And we're incredibly happy to announce that once again we'll be partnering with EVE-NT this year, with the entire 4 weekends broadcasted by the EVE-NT crew from Nottingham in the UK. Refereeing and tournament adjudication will, of course, still be in Iceland here with CCP, but we are incredibly proud to be partnering with EVE-NT and to be working with their broadcast team. They're absolutely incredible. So stay tuned for more information on the Alliance Tournament, the rules, the sign-ups, and the prize pool as we roll towards the summer. For now, though, I want to pass you on to someone who's a very familiar face to you all to reflect a little bit more on 15 years of EVE Online. Please welcome CCP Helmar.
Hey again, everyone. So, 15 years. It's actually been a while since I've stood on the EVE keynote stage and talking to you all. It was 5 years ago at the 10-year birthday where I last spoke on the EVE keynote. Back then, I was full of nostalgia. I was speaking about the journey that led to the creation of EVE Online and all the ambition behind it. You can see it's very big. And my own experiences of playing it for the first time. This was the first version of EVE I played. And especially the story when I lost my first ship to a player in EVE. That was a journey that scarred me forever. But no, it really taught me that EVE Online is not just a computer game. The fact that I was sitting there mining to pay back my thorax really taught me a lesson about, like, it's a real deal. And back in 2013, we did these bold proclamations, like I was saying earlier at the opening ceremony, about the second decade of EVE Online, which was rather uncomfortable to be talking about a computer game spanning decades. But now that we're halfway through the decade of EVE Online, it isn't so much kind of nostalgia like I was sharing with you back in 10-year birthday. Now I'm actually full of gratitude. It's gratitude to the millions of players that have played EVE Online at one time or another. And especially those of you who are playing the game right now. You guys watching the stream, and you guys here in the audience in front of me. Thank you. It really is because of you that we keep doing this for years on years, and frankly, decades in my case. You have propelled thousands of people that have worked on EVE Online over 20 years now to new and greater heights. You're also literally the reason why CCP is as committed as ever to the mission of having EVE Online outlive us all. The journey to get to this point has not been easy. Those of you who have been here for a while, you know that very well. Sometimes we have been too ambitious. Sometimes we have been not ambitious enough. Sometimes we have had the right idea at the wrong time, and sometimes we have had the wrong idea at the right time, which I know is not a thing, but if you've been here, I'm sure you can think of some examples beyond these two. And after 15 years of EVE, I'm actually more hopeful than ever that we can do something amazing together. We've come a long way together, but we can go a lot further. And there are a few things which actually make me think this. So one is that the move to open access has really showed a new avenue of growth for EVE Online. It really was a successful transition, and the way you all embraced it and what we have seen kind of in the first year to follow has really opened up new doors for growth for EVE. We've also gotten a lot more scientific when it comes to understanding what goes on in EVE, by whom, when, and why. We've been building this up for years. We kind of started around 2013, so we've been at it for 5 years. Many of you have participated in our various studies and interviews and all that to build up our data set. I really want to thank you for that. That really has helped us gain a whole new dimension of understanding of what goes on in EVE and why. Of course, we've always had the CSM and all these venues, but now this kind of more data-driven empirical venue has given us a whole new way to kind of think about EVE Online. And it's already leading to a much better work on EVE Online, which I hope you will appreciate going forward. And there are also some new exciting developments that are going on. Some of it you have already seen, and there will be some more to share later on. And lastly, I've actually been playing EVE Online quite a bit this year. I, like many of you, have kind of faded in and out of EVE. Like running a company and playing EVE for 15 years it just can't be done, especially when you have a family of 3 children. But I reactivated myself pretty aggressively last year. It kind of started innocently. I started with Project Discovery. Like searching for exoplanets was just like, it was so much fun. Like we see in our data, a lot of people are like me doing that. And that kind of gave me a new idea about doing something with planets in EVE. And I thought like, okay, maybe before I do that, I should go and check out PI. And so I did. After reading a lot of articles of EVE University, thank you, EVE University. And watching a lot of YouTube videos, and then clicking a lot. My God, the amount of clicking. And like building colonies, tearing them down, and all that. My God, I can appreciate some of the quality of life changes to PI. Especially these little stripes here. Like, I was like peering at my monitor, and it's like, oh, is this one better than the other one? I can't really see. Like, I have a paper on it. I'm sure there's a better way, and like, I should have an app or something. But now we have these stripes. Rather giddy about it. But after this first act of EVE, I actually really got going. I created 2 new characters, reactivated some of my other old characters, started to do like the MPE twice over, all the career agents, granting for faction standing, doing all the epic mission arcs, which is a lot of work if you've done that. All the while mining off up to like 1 or 2 clients at the same time, because that's how you play EVE, or at least how I play EVE. Mining, it's a big deal. We need to do something about that. Then I proceeded to do the Guristas and Angel mission arcs, which of course are in null. It's frankly more like doing PvP with kind of a PvE hat on. All I can say, it's impressive the dedication you guys put into making null a dangerous place. I was spotted so many times. Like, I mean, I've been in null, but my survival skills are a little rusty. So like, okay, let's try workhorse stabilizers. They won't really work. Then okay, inertia dampeners on an interceptor. Okay, now I frankly have a way to travel and then do all the endless amount of bookmarking. Like it took me a while to get up to the level where I could survive long enough to finish the epic mission arcs. If anyone has like not gone and done it, I highly recommend it. It's a great way to kind of get out there and do something. It's like a carrot. I know it's a little embarrassing after 15 years to suck so much at the game. but it's a little therapeutic sharing it here. I'm sure I'll hear about it at the charity dinner. But actually, I suck a bit less now, like I do. It's been months now. I'm kind of up to snuff. I now live in a wormhole. It's only been a week. Yeah, it's only been a week so far. Like, don't give me too much credit. Like, and hopefully I will have more stories to share at EVECAS about my life in a wormhole. And from all this, I've really been reminded what you all keep telling me every single FanFest, that it really is an amazing game. And it's huge. After 15 years of development and all the player infrastructure, it's a daunting task to experience it all. I'm particularly impressed with all the player-built citadels. They really lend a whole new dimension. Last time I seriously played Eve, there weren't like citadels, certainly not in HiSec. And just kind of to see kind of the attitude in the naming and like go and visiting them and know somebody built it and like strive for it, it really lends a whole new dimension to the game. Really feels lived in all over the place in a way I haven't really seen it before. This is something we really need to explore further and deepen it. It's also very interesting to re-experience the game like this with all the developments we've done. There really are layers upon layers and layers of systems. You can kind of see the layer cake of all the people that have worked on EVE Online, and frankly, it could use a bit of a cleanup. And also, what's interesting is that some of the fundamental systems are still there, relatively unchanged. Yeah, even deeper. Some of the elements with ship dynamics, the physics, the 3D engine, the server architecture, they still really haven't been touched, and they could really benefit from strengthening and modernizing. Like we've successfully done in some areas, there are some really good developments that have been done in the game, like the stunting system we did last year. It's mind-blowing compared to what it used to be. And I certainly have found a new understanding and drive to create the environment where we will do that. So there's a big commitment from us at CCP to really kind of tackle some of these old systems. And to give us an overview of what's happening concretely on that front, I want to give you back to Andy, who's going to take us through that.
Thank you, Hilmar. So today, we also have some updates on what is coming up in the future for EVE. And to help you understand what you can expect and look forward to from us as we build on EVE Online for the coming years, I want to give you 3 pillars that will shape the future and the changes that we will bring to EVE. And the first you can expect from us is dedication to game health, balance, and quality. Now, we have sometimes been a bit too focused on our future plans, when what was really needed was attention on the environment and ecosystem health of EVE as it is in the moment. So today, I want to be really explicit and tell you that game health, balance, and quality is something we are dedicating effort and attention to. And this dedication means that we will continue to put work into regular ship balance. And next up, we're going to address the 500 MN heavy interdictors, like we mentioned in the March balance blog. So that's coming. And after that, the team is looking at making more changes to some underused ships, starting with some of the Navy battleships. And we will also monitor and follow up with changes to all of that new stuff you just saw that is coming with Into the Abyss. And the warp core stabilizer changes to faction warfare that are coming in the expansion, they're really part of this effort on balance and game health as well. And even more ship balance work is being discussed actively in the development team right now and with the CSM. And there is time dedicated for balance that will be used to work on these projects. And we're also monitoring the changes that we did in February to sovereignty capture, jump fatigue, jump rages, and travel tethering. And we are dedicating time for follow-up changes to those systems as well this year, but we need to see some more data and feedback coming in first. And we will work with the CSM to look for more balance and ecosystem issues that we could tackle this year. And we'll also continue with quality of life changes all over the game. Like the ones you saw will come for planetary interaction, and some of the little thing stuff like we shipped in May, like fleet improvements and so on and so forth. And we will just keep rolling with that stuff. And we are also upping our efforts to deal with bots and hackers who really don't belong in EVE Online. Whoop, whoop. Whoop, whoop. So we have an all-new team effort going here, actually, between security, development, and customer support. And we'll keep reporting to you in dev blogs what they're up to and how we're doing with that banhammer. So With all that said, the core of where we are taking EVE Online is all about deepening the sandbox. And it doesn't matter if you play solo or in a huge alliance war. EVE is a game about testing yourself against others. Can you outsmart them? Can you optimize better? Can you come up with the best setup? And can you make the better decision in a tight spot? You're playing with and against others in this world where your actions impact the experience for other players. And we want to strengthen and deepen this core of EVE Online for the next decade. Depth with more meaningful decisions to make and more opportunities for creating a meaningful path for yourself or for your group. And to do that, we are driving forward with our plans for a richer, deeper ecosystem of space colonization, where you as a player can take part in and take over more and more of what is possible to do in this universe, and test yourself against everyone else who is looking to build wealth, power, and reputation in this world. And I'll share what's coming next in just a moment. We're also building out tools like the agency and the activity tracker, and these tools are really there to help more players find and set their own goals in the sandbox of EVE. So, what's coming up to deepen the EVE sandbox? Well, Upwell structures, they've now surpassed the old Starbase technology for almost all areas of functionality. And at FanFest last year, we started revealing how Upwell plans to replace outposts and conquerable stations with unique, heavily bonused faction citadels. And these special citadels will be handed to whoever owns each outpost or conquerable station on the day of the replacement. And for the stations specifically, your alliance will also be immortalized in the game on the monument that will be created on the site of each station. If you want this, you will have to take or defend the outposts and stations and hold them on the day of the change. And we now have a date for when that change will take place. It's 1 week after Into the Abyss on June 5th. It's happening. And this year, Upwell will then be looking to improve and disrupt the technology for space travel infrastructure, starting with jump bridges, cynobeacons, and cynojammers. And this will pave the way for eventually fully phasing out the old POS technology and let us keep driving towards our vision of player-made infrastructure in EVE Online. And there are many more details on both the faction citadels and the upcoming future for structures in the structures presentation on Saturday, so make sure to catch that. Now, another thing to really deepen the experience that you have in the EVE Sandbox is to show you more about your actions in it. Now, you remember that technology I was talking about that we're building for the activity tracker. We are looking to using some of the same technology to vastly upgrade kill reports in EVE Online. And yes, this means that logistics will finally go on kill reports. But not just logistics. Also, any assisting E-War on both sides, kill marks, skins, and detailed damage information. Now, we don't have a release date locked in yet, but today we will release some example data. And this will let, for example, Killboard developers start understanding what this change will bring for the future. All right. And so on the pillars, last but not least, you should expect us to keep pushing the boundaries of what is possible in EVE Online, and also have some fun on the way. So we'll continue to let the world of EVE show you some mysteries, we'll give you fun and seasonal live events that lead you to explore different aspects of the game and all the different factions and areas of EVE. And while the new ships and weapons and mutaplasmids that are coming out of Abyssal Dead Space, they're really solid additions to deepening the sandbox of EVE, the all-new PvE gameplay that you'll discover in Abyssal Dead Space is really an example of us pushing for entirely new experiences in EVE Online, driving our rendering engine, our whole technology stack to new heights. And these visuals you've been seeing up here, they're in-game shots. This is not trailer-making fancy stuff. You've seen these ships fly around in these amazing environments. That's what you will experience in your ship when you dive into Abyssal Dead Space. And this kind of boundary pushing is something that we will keep doing while we push for a healthy ecosystem and a deeper sandbox.
Thank you for the great overview, Andy, on what the team is up to. Do you guys like this? So I really maybe want to draw a line under what we're seeing here today. And it's really kind of solidifying in two elements that Andy was talking about. One is this depth with meaningful decisions. That's really what we view EVE as. And there are some awesome elements in the game where you really do this. And there are also some elements of the game which are frankly too shallow and need to be deepened, and the decisions need to be more meaningful. So that is very much our commitment to do that. And also, as Antti is talking about with the Abyssal Dead Space, you can really look at it as an experimental kitchen of tackling some of the fundamental systems in an environment where we can do it without affecting all of EVE at the same time. Because some of these elements which we haven't touched for 15 years, they're hard to operate on when you have the whole game under. So while it will start the way it is, which is frankly quite awesome as you've seen, that will really go on, and that does allows us to push into some of the fundamental aspects of the operating system of EVE Online for betterment of the whole game for decades to come. So, and also what you're observing here is that this is us, CCP, taking a bet on the game we have, on the community we have, and really taking into that. And then we want to end this keynote with a new trailer that the team has put together. The trailer is maybe a little different than before. I think it can be best described as a love letter to you, our current players, and our current game. Thank you.
On 6th of May 2003, a universe was born. An expanse of untapped potential. Then came life. And union. You ventured forth into the unknown, spreading out to the farthest reaches. Humble beginnings gave way to pioneering frontiers. You forged your diplomacy among the blaze of stars. And you drew your lines in the sand. Your rivalries shaped your world, triggering wars of unprecedented scale. Breathing life into the galaxy, you wrote the history of EVE. Countless stories of greatness, treachery, and rebellion. A tapestry of emerging and collapsing empires. As the greatest events of your past and the achievements of your community have become legend. The future is yours to write. On 6th of May 2003, a universe was born. An expanse of untapped potential. Then came life. And union. You ventured forth into the unknown, spreading out to the farthest reaches. Humble beginnings gave way to pioneering frontiers. You forged your diplomacy among the blaze of stars. And you drew your lines in the sand. Your rivalries shaped your world, triggering wars of unprecedented scale. Breathing life into the galaxy, you wrote the history of Eve. Countless stories of greatness, treachery, and rebellion. A tapestry of emerging and collapsing empires. As the greatest events of your past and the achievements of your community have become legend, the future is yours to write.